Tonight on CFTK-TV News, some recent White Rock stabbings have resulted in a murder charge, new BC housing rules are having some unintended consequences, and China looks to be set to collect samples from the far side of the moon.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Good evening, I'm Cale Maslin, and here's what's making the news in the Northwest and beyond for today. The Northwest BC Taekwondo Championships were in Terrace this weekend, with competitors coming from as far away as Prince George. CFTK-TV's Jaylene Matthews has more of the details.
It was time to duke it out this weekend as Taekwondo competitors took to the mats at Skeena Middle, with athletes competing for medals in their belt categories. Event organizer Cody Skog says it was a successful tournament.
It's been a great day. I've really enjoyed myself. I was looking forward to a bunch of the matches. I saw some people kind of grow a little bit, get challenged. Great to see my peers like Jordan Boudreau and Miss McCreary from Hazelton as well.
Visiting from Prince George, instructor Jordan Boudreau says smaller tournaments are great practice for bigger events.
Some of the students here are competing for the first time, so there's obviously those jitters of competing and being in front of your friends and family for the first time. But all in all, everyone's handling it great, and I think that you do these events and you build up that confidence, and it's going to take you on to bigger events like Westerns and Nationals and hopefully a World Championship.
And competitors say it's great fun.
I came up to the tournament to get medals and try and get to a new belt.
I like the tournaments and they're always fun, and I always like winning from them.
Kind of becomes a little bit of a family, you compete and it's similar people and belt levels going up, and you end up getting to know these people. And on my logo is meet, greet, and compete. And I think that kind of summarizes it a little bit. Just connect with some people and make some new comrades.
It's really fun.
It's really fun.
You should try and get some more people to come in.
For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Over the weekend, a shed that was located near Old Babbitt Lake Road and Upper Viewmount Road was unfortunately destroyed by a fire. This fire started in the later part of the morning, and the Smithers Fire Department had to work for about an hour and a half in order to finally get the flames extinguished. 4 members of Telqua's Fire Department also attended the scene in order to help out the 15 firefighters from Smithers that were battling the blaze, and 5 apparatuses were taken to the fire as well. The fire luckily did not result in any injuries or damage to other structures besides the shed, but there is still an investigation underway to try and discover what exactly were the contributing factors to the creation of this fire. The man that was arrested in connection to 2 stabbings in White Rock 2 weeks ago was recently charged with second-degree murder. CTV's Ben Nesbitt has more from the Surrey Provincial Court.
Dimitri Hyacinth did not say a word during his brief court appearance. The 27-year-old was already charged with aggravated assault. Now he's facing 1 count of second-degree murder after a pair of stabbings that shook the White Rock community. Police say the first stabbing happened on April 21st near the pier. The victim, 28-year-old Jatinder Singh, was taken to hospital and survived. 2 days later, 26-year-old Kulwinder Singh Sohi was fatally stabbed in the same area. On Monday, the emergency response team arrested Hyacinth in this residential neighborhood in South Surrey. He made his initial court appearance for the aggravated assault charge on Tuesday. The details of this afternoon's appearance are not reportable due to a publication ban. Hyacinth will remain in custody and is scheduled to be back in court on May 23rd. Ben Nesbitt, CTV News, Surrey.
Coming up next is the latest development in a high-profile shooting from last year. Welcome back. New rules for short-term housing in BC have been launched, but concerns are already popping up over some unintended fallout. A woman who lives in rural BC ended up taking herself off of a transplant list because she couldn't get a place to stay in the Lower Mainland for treatment. Now, as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi reports, organ transplant advocates are sounding the alarm, warning that these new short-term housing rules could make things even worse for patients.
Newly announced rules for short-term rentals looking to add more units back into BC's long-term housing stock. But an unintended consequence of the policy, fewer units for rural British Columbians undergoing transplants who rely on short-term accommodations to be near a transplant center in Vancouver.
We do need to facilitate making sure people can get to where the care is. And I think that's the issue at the heart of this.
Hotels are often expensive, and patients can require up to 6 months of aftercare, where it's mandatory to stay in the Lower Mainland. Because of how expensive accommodations are, people like Christina Dirksen Unrau have taken themselves off transplant lists. The Princeton woman needs a double lung transplant and was told she'd have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to live in Vancouver for care after surgery.
It was like somebody just pulled the bottom out of our world.
She took her concerns all the way to the legislature, with the Premier agreeing to look into the issue.
I've gone back and asked the Ministry of Health to work on this. It's a housing issue.
But now, with the new short-term rental rules, rural healthcare advocates are worried it will be another barrier. They say they aren't against the regulations, but would like to see an exemption made for those seeking medical treatment.
And make sure that they're not faced with the choice between life and death because they don't have money.
The province acknowledges that some British Columbians need to travel for transplant surgery and stay in the Lower Mainland, adding, quote, British Columbians need more units back into the long-term rental market so they can find an affordable place to call home. That has to be our focus. Adams says Dirksen Unrau was recently added back to the transplant list and will hopefully be receiving a transplant this year. The hope is she and others needing that affordable short-term stay will be able to get it to ensure they get the life-saving care they need. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
3 men in their 20s have been put behind bars due to a brazen shooting. It's a major development in the murder that thrust Canada and India's relations into the deep freeze. Police made it clear that there could be more arrests, and they're still investigating the potential role of the Indian government. CTV's Yasmin Gandam has the latest.
When 45-year-old Hardeep Singh Nijjar was gunned down outside a Gurdwara in Surrey last June the 18th, members of the Sikh community feared they could be next.
I go to temple every day, but if I go, I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen.
Today, 3 arrests have been made, but the community is left scarred.
It's a good first step, but there are a lot more questions that have been raised by these arrests than there are answers.
Karanpreet Singh, Kamalpreet Singh, and Karan Brar are each facing 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder in Nijjar's death. The men were arrested in Edmonton, where they live. This is the Toyota Corolla believed to have been used at the time of Nijjar's murder.
We are aware that others may have played a role in this homicide, and we remain dedicated to finding and arresting each one of these individuals.
Nijjar was a vocal supporter for the creation of a separate Sikh state, or the Khalistan movement. In September, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pointed fingers at foreign interference.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
It sparked a diplomatic crisis between the two countries. Indian Canadians were suspended from receiving a visa to travel to India. According to police, working with the Indian government on the investigation has not been easy.
I'll be frank, I'll characterize that collaboration as rather challenging and difficult for the last several years.
It led to widespread fear and anger among the Sikh community across Canada.
That this is the beginning of a discovery for all of us as to how far the tentacles of the government of India and gangsters go in terms of the assassination of Mr. Nijjar.
The community hopes evidence will prove what they have believed for a while, that the alleged hit squad charged was hired by the Indian government.
There is still no decision into whether the province of BC had the power to force the city of Surrey to abolish its RCMP, as the argument was heard in a BC courtroom. CTV's Abigail Turner has the latest details from the Supreme Courthouse.
The decision about whether the province had the authority to mandate the city of Surrey to a municipal police force now lies in the hands of a BC Supreme Court judge. The judge has heard submissions from both the city and provincial lawyers about the SPS transition for the past 5 days, after Surrey Mayor Brenda Locke filed a petition for judicial review in November. The province's lawyers said the Solicitor General Mike Farnworth's decision was made based on his duty, make a policing decision with the safety of the entire province in mind. But the city's lawyers argued that's not how Farnworth came to his decision. It's important to note a judicial review is only to determine if a decision was unreasonable or correct. It cannot change the outcome. The justice will now review both submissions, but did not say exactly when a decision would be made, only that he understands the need for a timely conclusion. Abigail Turner, CTV News, Vancouver.
The RCMP said that manslaughter charges have recently been laid against 2 men in connection with a stabbing death at Williams Lake from 2 years ago. The charges are the result of an investigation by both the police and the BC Coroner Service into the May 2022 stabbing death of a 19-year-old Richard Todd. RCMP announced that 26-year-old Michael Bauer and 25-year-old Garrett Sheary both got arrested and charged with manslaughter. Police last said that Bauer was arrested in Williams Lake and Sheary in Houston, and both men who are in custody appeared in court today in Williams Lake. Turning to tonight's weather, the North Coast will get a chance of showers, plus a low of 6 degrees. The Terrace-Kitimat area shall see showers at a low of 4 degrees. And the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District is supposed to have clear skies at a low of -4 degrees. On the North Coast, the next week or so will consist of a sunny day, but pretty much just rain and clouds otherwise, and a high shifting from 11 to 14 degrees. In the Terrace-Kitimat area, the week for them will have a little sun too, but mostly rain and clouds, as well as the high bouncing from 8 to 18 degrees. And in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, their week will consist of some rain, but mainly a mix of sun and cloud, and a high moving from 12 to 21 degrees. Checking out the highways now, visit Drive BC for the latest and up-to-date conditions, and as always, drive safe out there. On Highway 16, there is utility work, bridge maintenance, road sweeping, construction work, and paving operations. Highway 37 has some road sweeping while also having frost heaves. Highway 37A has road maintenance work, and the Telegraph Creek Road has muddy sections and frost heaves. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, China seemingly interfered in Canadian elections from a few years ago. Welcome back. We turn now to how China meddled in 2 federal elections, including a riding in BC. The commissioner examining foreign interference concluded that the communist regime did play a role in 2019 and 2021. One of their targets, a former Conservative MP, said he lost his Steveston riding because of Chinese disinformation. CTV's Gabriela Panza-Beltrandi has more.
Are you at all confident that the next election in Canada will be protected from foreign interference?
No. A strong stance from Kenny Chu, speaking to CTV's Power Play today. The former Conservative candidate blamed Chinese disinformation for losing his bid for re-election in 2021. This after he was smeared in Chinese media and WeChat. Now the inquiry found that interference may have swayed the election. The report concluded foreign actors, mainly China, meddled in the past 2 elections.
Some of these acts have been established while others remain only suspected, are a stain on our electoral process, and impacted the process leading up to the actual vote.
While the commissioner said Canada's electoral system remained robust, she pointed to 2 cases where there was significant intelligence that Beijing interfered. One was the 2019 Liberal nomination of Han Dong, where international students were bussed in and threatened with losing their visas, and then the interference Chu faced in 2021.
I am deeply troubled by what I see.
The report raised concerns about how a panel of senior officials hesitated to act to warn the public and relied on media to correct the disinformation. By the time that disinformation fades away, it may be too late. The damage to the democratic process may already be done. Chu says the government needs a lower threshold for notifying the party, media, and public about possible foreign interference, or to just do something.
Inaction in itself, it's actually sending out a message to these foreign regimes, suggesting to them that this is actually, just like Caesar says, actions and operation that has a very good return of investment.
Chu hasn't ruled out stepping back into the political arena, but he says he doesn't have faith the 2025 election will be safe. Meanwhile, Phase 2 of the inquiry is expected this fall, delving deeper into solutions. Gabriella Panza-Beltrandi, CTV News, Vancouver.
London Drugs said it will begin a gradual reopening of its stores, providing some core services across Western Canada. Company President Clint Malman said that in a statement that the stores will undergo a gradual reopening in a secure, safe, and orderly manner following a cybersecurity-based incident. London Drugs also went on to mention that it is asking for patience as it works with each of their stores to ensure that they fully meet customer needs. London Drugs last stated that at this point in its investigation, there isn't any evidence that any of their customer databases have been compromised, including the pharmacy patients. China is currently on track to be the first country to ever collect samples from the far side of the moon. The country launched the largest rocket they have on a mission expected to last around 2 months or so, not too long ago. NBC's Janice Mackey-Freyer now reports on the brand new type of space race.
It's one of China's most ambitious space missions yet. To the far side of the moon to bring back samples of lunar rock from a basin never before explored.
We're roughly 1.5 miles from the launch site. You can feel the ground shake as they have liftoff. If this mission is successful, it will mark a first.
The unmanned mission, called Chang'e 6, marks a major milestone here. China's goal to put Chinese astronauts on the moon by 2030. All countries should explore, develop, and use outer space peacefully, said this mission official, adding there's no need to worry too much about competition. But with the U.S. and other nations also setting sights on the moon, experts see a new sort of global space race. The head of U.S. Space Command recently said China is moving at breathtaking speed in space. Those ambitions have also created a booming industry here, with thousands of space enthusiasts crowding beaches near the launch site.
When did you come here?
3 days ago.
You've been camping here for 3 days?
Yes.
I want to see the strength of my country, she says. The 53-day mission aims to return with 5 pounds of lunar debris that scientists say could help unlock secrets around the moon's origins and possibly have an impact far beyond here. Janice Mackey-Freyer, NBC News, Hainan, China.
A little girl in New Jersey badly injured her arm after an elevator accident. Surveillance video captured the moment her arm got trapped in the door and the adults she was with couldn't free her. ABC's Andrew Dimbert shows how it happened.
The frightening moments were all caught on camera. Loni Garaziotis and her 3 kids were heading out for the day when 5-year-old Zoe put her hand on the elevator door. When the door opened, they say her arm got sucked into the tiny space between the door and the elevator wall.
Me and my friend Jen grabbed the elevator so it wouldn't pull her in more, and my friend Nicole was with her down there trying to figure out how to get her arm out.
They tried for 3 minutes to get her free. A neighbor heard the commotion and handed them a bottle of lotion.
and she put it on her arm, and then she opened it for you, and she pulled her arm free, luckily.
EMTs rushed Zoe to the hospital where she needed 20 stitches on her wrist and was left with a large scar.
It's pretty big, and it's something that we deal with on a daily basis. She wants to cover it. It doesn't feel good. It hurts her. It's sensitive.
Now the family is suing the building's owner and the elevator company, claiming negligence. The operator of the elevator said it doesn't comment on pending litigation, but said safety is an integral part of what we do. We remain steadfast in our commitment to moving people safely every day. No comment yet from the building owner. For Zoe and her mom, it was a moment they'll never forget.
Did you know Mommy was going to help you?
Yeah.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
And now we turn our attention to the stock markets. The Canadian dollar is up 0.6 of a cent. The price of gold is up $22.60. Oil is up 37 cents. Natural gas is up 5 cents. Aluminum is up $23.50. In Toronto, the TSX is up 312.06 points. The Venture Index is up 8.40. In New York, the Dow Jones is up 176.59 and Nasdaq is up 192.92. Still ahead, part of Vancouver has been transformed for the filming of a high-profile TV show. Welcome back. A part of downtown Vancouver was looking a whole lot different in recent times as the crew from the hit TV show The Last of Us began their filming on location for the anticipated second season. CTV's Martin McMahon stopped by the set to see what all the fuss is about.
Just exciting to see it in real life.
From the overgrown vegetation and the dusty cars to the military vehicles rolling on through, this area just off Main Street near the port has been transformed. And everybody's coming by to sneak a peek at this shoot for season 2 of HBO's hit show, The Last of Us.
I've heard it's only for 4 hours of shooting, so one scene, and the amount of work that has gone into just one scene just shows the budget and the scale of the show, so it's like very impressive.
No, I'm getting as close as I can. I thought I was going to get in trouble for standing here, so I'm going to keep going if I can and just get a peek because it's cool to see it in real life happening for sure.
And for those stumbling upon it for the first time, it's quite a sight.
I mean, the abandoned car looks pretty creepy. All the trees, it doesn't look like a real street, really.
Doesn't look like Vancouver anymore, no?
No.
You can tell the folks here are working hard to bring you into the show's post-apocalyptic world, from the grubby license plates to swapping out the street signs, and they may be rewarded with a few new fans. Are you guys going to watch the show now?
I might. I think
check
I
it
will.
Yeah.
I think I will.
But while many are happy to check out the shoot, some businesses say they only got 4 days' notice.
Right now, the particular shoot, while exciting, it was quite last minute. You know, there is compensation and things going on, but they're having to cancel dinner reservations for guests. You know, there's spoiled food involved in that. There's employee scheduling adjustments, things like that are really difficult to manage.
Parts of season 2 are being shot around the province, and that will include shoots in Nanaimo later this month. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's all of our news for now. From all of us here at CFTK-TV News, I'm Kale Maslin. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.